Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing or giving you a demonstration of my favorite art books, what they look like, what they contain, and why I love them. And I hope I can show you my best of the best. Now, what is a book review without some goddamn teaching books? Now, if you were to begin oil painting for the first time, this is the book that I would recommend to you, and this is because it really does offer everything. Portraits, landscapes, still lifes, everything. And this book, in my opinion, has a very good and gives you a very good understanding of composition and of room, perspective drawing, how to incorporate light, interior design. As you can see, it also gives you kind of a step-by-step feel on how to approach these types of things. And in the very beginning, it gives you a little bit about what oil painting can be and oil painting essentials. How to start the process, what you're gonna need to start your process, and what you should practice, because it's not just random. You shouldn't just choose at random. This book gives you specific exercises that you can do to practice the most important and fundamental skills of oil painting, because it is a little bit different from doing acrylics. And I think it's nice to have that extra bit of information. I would highly recommend this book to anyone who's looking to start doing oils or getting serious about art. This one is a great read. Now, the follow-up to the last book that we did, and this one is very much what I learned from, and it is The Elements of Landscape Oil Painting. And even though this is specifically about oil painting, I use this for acrylics as well, because it's not too different. And this one will show you step by step and with the materials that is used, what colors that are used, how you can start learning to create different things. Here you can see the process of trying to make a tree or drawing a tree and painting a tree. How practicing will help you improve, how you can do your shadows and contours, and how to build up your tree from the ground, for example. And I very much enjoy how this book has so many examples on how to do everything step by step. Because when I was first starting out, it's very hard to know, for example, do I begin with the shadows? Do I begin with the lighter parts and then go from light to dark? Because I was used to doing watercolors. And when you do watercolor, everything always just goes darker. But doing these other mediums like acrylic and oil, you have to approach things in a different way. And this book is so thorough in the way that it explains to you and helps you and guides you through it. This book is an absolute gem. Even if you're not an oil painter, I would recommend this if you want to get good at making landscapes. This is one of my top recommends. An art essential, and this is complete guide to life drawing. This one is so incredibly good. I will show you all about this book. This one I actually picked up in Japan while I was there in 2017, and it has some of the most awesome anatomy references that I've ever seen. This book is absolute gold, and if you have a chance to pick it up, it is so useful. It shows you the bones, it shows you the muscle, it shows you how you can draw people of different sizes, the muscle and the fat, and in so many variated poses. It's absolutely incredible. This book is a steal. As you can see, I've used it a lot myself, and I'm still practicing anatomy, as you should. Never stop practicing anatomy. It is so incredibly useful. But this book just gives you everything that you need, and I would so highly recommend it to everyone. This book is an absolute gem. and so is this. And this one is a little bit more, what should I say? It's, first of all, it's in English. The other one is in Japanese because it's from Japan. But this one is so essential when it comes to how to structure your drawings. And this one gives you very neat and tidy drawings of how to make the different, like the joints. This is a knee joint, and this book is beautiful. The weight, how to put weight into a character, it's so incredibly useful. I mean, this book, you could probably use it for animation as well. Absolutely gorgeous drawings, and it's so simplified. So it's a very good beginner's book. I remember I bought this one when I was just starting art school. So that's 7 years ago. And proportions, anatomy, all these things, this book really goes into it, and it really does help you get a good base understanding of how to get your proportions correctly. Because one thing is knowing the anatomy that this book tells you about, but another thing completely is getting the proportions and the sizes right. And this book is an absolute gem. Okay, I want to begin by showing you the John Singer Sargent and the art of Allusion. And this book is absolutely gorgeous looking. It contains most of his portraits and his paintings. It tells you about his painting process. I've used this book personally for reference to try to replicate, because remember that when you're learning and you're learning how to do something, copying is not the same as stealing. You have to copy in order to learn. And I find John Singer Sargent to be such an excellent portrait painter, and he has done a bunch of drawings as well. And there's so much knowledge to be gained from copying and learning from him. And when you get to look at the different portraits that he's made, you get to get a little glimpse into his life as well, and what it was like. It wasn't necessarily without scandal, but he was very successful in his time. He was an American painter, and I find him to be some of the most inspirational when it comes to portrait painting, and just the way he draws and paints dresses and the detail. He's very known for the dresses and his faces. And what's important and what's actually very fascinating is that when he makes these details, he makes them very, very bold. When you get up close, you can see that these are very broad painting strokes, but it looks like the seamless detail on paper. It's like magic. This man is absolutely magical. This book is absolutely worth buying. This beautiful art book by Sorolla, one of my favorite Spanish painters. My second favorite painter is Sorolla, and this is called the Sorolla, the Masterworks, and it is a gorgeous, gorgeous book with some of his paintings, and he usually liked to go out to paint, unlike other artists who prefer to be inside a studio. And this book contains the pictures of him outside. He even put like all of his equipment, and he took it to the beach, and he just painted. Yeah, here you can see. And he painted children and adults and everything that he saw exactly as he saw it. And he tried to document everyday life, but of course, maybe a little bit romanticized for his time, but he's all about color and texture, and he is a master of the brush as well. And the fact that he made a lot of his paintings outside speaks volumes to me, to what he did, and how he worked. He inspires me very much to do gardens and flowers, but also portraits and architecture. He was a master of many different talents. This one particularly is one of his more famous ones. Strolling along the seashore. He was a Spanish painter from the early 1900s, and he has a lot of beautiful, large paintings. He often worked on huge canvas, and his portraits or his still lifes and his architecture paintings are also very textured. I'd say it falls within the Impressionism style, and you can just let these pictures speak for themselves. Okay, now on to the next artist. This one is actually part of a series, and I would actually recommend this entire series if you're interested in a good and concise look into, for example, different genres or different painters. As you can see, I have the rest right here, but I've chosen Impressionism as the book that I wanted to show you because it's one of my favorites. Now, this book on Impressionism is just one of many in a series that all belong together, and they are absolutely wonderful. They contain a multitude of art and artists and how they worked, information about them, their life, how they got famous, the techniques they used, and I think that's pretty neat. If you want something that has many different artists in it, not just one, and you want to experience many different kinds of inspiration, I'd say buying one of these from this series can be very, very useful. And why I recommend buying books instead of, for example, going on Pinterest, is because that physical medium does something to you. Holding a book in your hand and actually experiencing the book and looking at the textures for real and not just on a screen, it changes your perception of how it was made, in my opinion. And I think it's very healthy to try to get a little bit away from your phone and to experience the texture of the book and use that as a reference instead. And the colors on these books are amazing. They're meant to be show books, and so you'll get precise color and you get to read a little cute story as well. As a Scandinavian, a Norwegian, I couldn't help but include this book because I'm a really big fan of the Sargent painters, and this book is so inspirational when it comes to that type of work, and it very much inspires the work that I do on a daily basis. Now, this isn't just one artist, this is Scandinavian painters, and I like to begin in the middle, as you can tell. And this one just shows off a lot of different Scandinavian painters and the different styles, and the book is huge and so are the pictures. And if you need a good picture book for references or for something to draw, this is the book for you. It's absolutely gorgeous. The pages feel very nice to the touch, and it has a lovely color to it. This book is actually very old. It's over 25 years old. It's been in my family for ages. I've actually gone to Skagen in Denmark where these are shown and seen the real ones, and these are huge. This is almost the size of a real life lady, so that's pretty impressive. This picture right here, it doesn't say, but this is called Rosehagen. It means the Garden of Roses, and it is my favorite painting of all time. When I was in Skagen at the museum, I bought a huge replica of this painting, and I have it to this day. that's it for this book. Now, this isn't necessarily an art book, but this one I've chosen to include because it is a very good read. And if you are an artist who's struggling, you might relate a lot to Van Gogh, and not probably, hopefully, every one of his struggles, but his struggle with art in particular is very powerful, and I found it to be quite beautiful, so this is a very good read. The very last book that I want to talk about is The Letters of Vincent van Gogh by Penguins Classics, and this book is so beautiful. I got inspired to try to read this book by watching Loving Vincent, the movie, and it's a movie about his life and his struggles, and mostly about his death, which is still a mystery to this day. But he wrote letters to his brother Theo every single week or every single other week, and all of his letters are compiled into this book where he talks about his life and his struggles. He was a man who was very much plagued by his struggles with mental illness and the way that it affected his way to make art. It's just a beautiful story and a very good book and a great read. So I would recommend this book to everyone.